Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome. Today is Friday, August 4th, 2023. My name's Jeremy. This is my first cup. So, a little bit of a funny story for you. Who's here? Good morning. Frank. I see there are other people here. I'm sure they'll chime in the chat. A little bit of a funny story for you. So, as one might imagine, now that First Cup is weekly, my daily routine is off. It's no longer the same every day. Friday is different. What time of day do I get up most days? 6:30. In fact, I think there's been twice this week that my body woke up at 6:30, 6:28, 6:25, just before the alarm. Great, convenient. When did I wake up this morning? 6. Here's what makes it more interesting. My alarm was still set for 6:30. Whoops. Somehow my body knew it's time to get up for First Cup. Cool. So I did. I got up, jumped in the shower, made some tea, got the set ready. This very complicated set. That was the camera and everything. Then it says it's beginning to look a lot like Friday First Cup on our screens. And the prettiest sight you'll see is your First Cup family. Well, hey, I'll take that. Thanks, Dennis. How have you been in the last week? Any wins you want to celebrate? Feel free to drop them in the chat. Hope you have been well. So I'm still trying to figure out this whole sleeping thing. And now the computer's doing that. That's great. What was I saying? It rained last night, so I didn't sleep great. And I had a cup of decaf coffee at like 3:30, and apparently that was enough too, because I'm feeling it. I feel so. I don't know about you all. Good morning, Jenny. I spent enough days working late, building businesses and things that I know what it's like to be up from caffeine and then force yourself to go to sleep. And I know what that sleep feels like, and I know what it feels like the next morning. That's absolutely how this feels. Oh, I did not think a cup of decaf was going to be enough. But apparently it was. So what's going on? I had a lot of good stuff over the last week. A lot of meetings with team members and clients. Got a lot of great stuff going on. Free Training Day Mid-Atlantic is right around the corner. What are we at? 7 weeks? Free Training Day Pacific Northwest. It's like 11 weeks. And then Marshall Summit and Free Training Day Northeast are no, I'm doing bad math on this. Well, anyway, they're all upcoming, and my math in my brain is not working well right now. But the other big thing that's been on my plate is opening my martial arts school. August 23rd, here we go. I'm going to go hang some posters today. Printed some posters yesterday. If everybody could do me a favor, if you get the chance, to go to the Central Vermont Martial Arts Facebook page, and if you've trained with me, leave a review. Let people know that I know what I'm doing. That'd be great. Good morning and happy Friday to you, Mel. Jenny says FTDMA. Woo! And she says, yes, it's like 7 weeks. I am not looking at a calendar. LOL. September 23rd. Something like that. Yeah. So what is it? What does that make? Marshall Summit, like 17 weeks, something like that. Oh, math. 4 weeks a month. No, 13, 14. Doesn't really matter, does it? So what are you doing today? What are you doing this weekend? Craig Wareham and I, who many of you know, are teaching a class called Skills and Drills at Mark Warner's in Massachusetts. You're all welcome to attend. It's going to be a couple-hour class where we break out the drills, which are everyone's favorite part, of Matic Level 1. And we're going to go over those drills. And we're just going to run those drills for several hours. It's the practical, it's the hands-on, it's the part everyone finds most enjoyable. And we're going to see where that takes us. It's kind of a trial. We'll see. Interestingly enough, there hasn't been as much interest on this as I would have thought. And maybe that's because there's no certificate at the end. There's no, check. You are now this. But it's okay. The people who will be there, I will absolutely crush it and have a good time. Dennis says, the way 2023 is flying, September 23rd is basically next week. Jenny says that checks out. Yeah, kind of feels like it, doesn't it? Frank says, I discovered a great new author this week, Spencer Quinn. He writes mysteries, but from a dog's perspective. He's a riot. If you're an Audible member, you can get some of his books for free. Well, that's pretty cool. It's an interesting gimmick, feels dismissive. Perspective. We'll go with that word. Good morning, Nathan. Yeah, and it's supposed to be nice out this weekend, so probably we'll get out and work in the yard because there's just so much to do. There's a lot to do. All this rain. I mean, it's August, and there are projects from May I'm not done with. Now, that's not all weather. I'll take some responsibility on that. But, here's a fun. I think I mentioned it somewhere that I opened my patio umbrella. It's been so rainy, I opened my patio umbrella and a bird flew out. Well, the next day I opened it again and I realized it hadn't been a bird. It was a bat. A bat had been making his home in my patio umbrella. And I spent much of that day figuring out how to humanely evict said bat. A spray bottle of water, put a couple drops of cinnamon oil in it, and hosed down the whole inside. That wasn't enough. So eventually I just took to spraying him in the face, and that made him leave. And then, the drawstring bags that we give out for a lot of things fits perfectly around the bottom of the umbrella. So I'm looking at a drawstring blue never settle bag wrapped around the bottom of my patio umbrella. Yeah, so that's what's going on with me. Would love to know what's going on with you. I'm going to switch over to jokes now, but you can still post those in the chat. Thank you, as always, to Frank for your jokes and your quotes and all of your support, my friend. Thank you to Josh for our theme song and to Denise for our audio. Yeah. All right, where are we? We're going to there. Today is International Beer Day. Hooray! I don't think it really changes anything in my life, but that's okay. I had a beer yesterday. The jokes for Fun Day Friday. Beer makes you smarter. Well, it made Bud wiser. What's the favorite drink of the Guardians of the Galaxy? Groot beer. What kind of beer does Indiana Jones drink to reinforce his courage? A Rolling Rock. Can you even get Rolling Rock anymore? I actually liked Rolling Rock back in the day. A Roman walks into a bar. He holds up 2 fingers and says, 5 beers, bartender. Oh, 2 beer, 2 fingers, like a V. That's a good one. That's a really good joke. What's God's favorite beer? Busch Light. The price of beer nuts. Are you aware that the price of beer nuts is now $3.99 per pound, while deer nuts are still under $1? I flubbed that. These are good. These are solid jokes. Anyone know where a guy can find someone to hang out with, maybe have a few beers with, talk to, and kind of just enjoy spending time with? Asking for a friend. What did the soccer fans say when the beer ran out? Damn, this game is boring. Give a man a fish and he will eat for a day. Teach a man to fish and he will sit in a boat and drink beer all day. A mathematician walks into a bar and orders a root beer. The bartender brings him one. You idiot! You poured it into a square glass, the mathematician complains. Now I just have beer. Who would win in a drinking game between an Irishman and a Scotsman? The distillery. Why is the forklift operator at the distillery you own always so nice to you? Because it's his job to lift your spirits. If Tom Cruise owned a liquor distillery, what would he call it? Whiskey business. Some absolutely great ones in there. See what you all thought of them. Dennis liked the Rolling Rock one. Good openers. I like the Roman one, this one. Jenny says, there were so many great ones in there. I agree. My delivery wasn't bad on most of them. And Frank says, I knew how I had to include the Roman one since Jeremy is such a math nerd. That is true. I was talking to somebody earlier this week. I'm trying to remember what it was. I was in conversation. Oh, that's what it was. Yeah, I was having a conversation on Monday, and the gist of the conversation involved, well, I'll share you kind of the punchline. Well, yeah, but what's the chance that all 20 goats are the same gender? And I'm actually revising my answer because I had originally said 1 over 2 to the 20th. It's actually 1 over 2 to the 19th because the gender of the first goat doesn't matter. So, math jokes. All right, let's see what we got for quotes. I saw we had quotes from 3 different people in here. And I don't think I recognized any of the names. Ooh. Oh. All right. Yawn. Here we go. Not yawn as in I'm saying yawn because I'm bored. Yawn because I'm actually yawning. Life is a series of natural and spontaneous changes. Don't resist them. That only creates sorrow. Let reality be reality. Let things flow naturally forward in whatever way they like. Lao Tzu. This is one of those quotes where people want to take it the wrong way. People want to take this as don't try, don't do anything. But I think it's better thought of as water in a stream. You're not going to stop the water. You could build a dam, you could redirect it, but it's still going to go. But there are plenty of ways you can use that water, that predictable flowing water. Your dam could involve a sawmill. It could create a pond or a water reservoir. You could swim or tube down it. Right? There's a difference between trying to stop it, conceding it, and working with it. And I think all too often we become so committed to where things are, or rather where we want them to go or where they have been, that we ignore where they are and what their opportunities are. Several years ago, when I tried opening a martial arts school, I was striking out on space. I mean, I was looking. I had the number of places that just didn't work out was kind of weird. And I took it as a sign that just this isn't the right time. Now, I certainly could have applied logic and said, Jeremy, that, the universe doesn't work that way. Well, I believe it does. You may not. That's fine. But I didn't fight it. It's like, it's just not time. And then I decided to try again. And it was. And I was thinking about this last night, that the place that we're using, I don't think would have worked a couple of years ago. My understanding of what was going on with that space, it wouldn't have been an option. So it's kind of cool. Think about a sailboat. A sailboat doesn't change the winds. It adjusts its course and it adjusts its sails based on the winds. Sometimes there's no wind and you drift. Sometimes the wind takes you slightly off course from where you want to be. But sometimes the wind is really strong and it takes you exactly where you want to go. And you got to average that out. Is that necessarily as efficient as a steamship? No. But we rarely get the opportunity to steamship through life. Let's go on to the next one. In ancient China, the Taoists taught that a constant inner smile, a smile to oneself, ensured health, happiness, and longevity. Why? Smiling to yourself is like basking in love. You become your own best friend. Living with an inner smile is to live in harmony with yourself. Montauk Chia. This name's familiar. If Stacy's in this chat, Stacy would know who this is. Maybe some of the rest of you do as well. I don't. But the name is familiar. It's not easy to do this. I was in the grocery store yesterday and found myself feeling a little bit anxious. They'd rearranged the store. There were annoying people in the store. There was this group, I'm not even going to describe them, but they just their existence annoyed me. I could tell. I could tell what kind of people they were. They were annoying people. And I paused a moment and I said, look, if I can feel this way, I can feel another way. So I chose to feel another way. It doesn't always work for me, but it's something I'm practicing. I'm glad I did. Smiling to yourself is like basking in love. Sometimes people will say, well, I don't have a reason to smile. Of course you do. You're alive. You don't need a compelling reason to smile. What if you flip it the other way? What if instead of having a reason to smile, you need to have an incredible reason to be unhappy? What if we value being alive and breathing and having our basic needs met, at least for today, as being so overwhelmingly valuable as to warrant a smile? And you know what? They are. Because if I come to you and I remove your food or tell you can't live in your home anymore or put my hand over your mouth and you stop breathing, you're going to be pretty excited if we find a way to reverse that course quickly. just being alive. And here's the proof. What if I gave you $100 million, but you only got to live another year? It's a lot of money. Probably wouldn't take it. I certainly wouldn't. I'm sure there are some people out there, but I think very few would take that. We value our lives. If you have it, and if you're watching or listening to this, you have it, let that be enough to smile. One more. When greedy people are given gold, they are bitter. They haven't gotten jewels. When they are made barons, they are resentful that they haven't been made lords. Though powerful and rich, their attitude is that of beggars. For those who know how to be content, simple fare is more delicious than rich delicacies. A cloth coat is warmer than fox fur, and an ordinary citizen does not defer to a king or a lord. Xi Cheng Hong. There's a difference between being greedy and constantly looking forward. I want more. I do. I am happy with what I have. To me, those are not in conflict. And here's a good example, one that I think a lot of people will probably get. If you have kids, you'll probably love your kids. Probably love them just as they are. But you want them to continue to grow and become better versions of themselves. And you want them to have an amazing life and a job that they love and maybe find a person that they love, right? Like there are a lot of things you want for them, but you still love who they are today. And you can do the exact same thing for yourself. You can love who you are and where you're at, and you can still want all sorts more. I would argue that you deserve that. You deserve that growth, that development. I think the biggest difference between being human and being any other species, we have the ability to want more. And if we have that capacity, I believe we have a responsibility to go after it. Animals don't want more. Their whole wiring is to survive. And we have that too. But once those boxes are checked, what do we do? What do we do with our time? That's up to you to figure out. I like this, Frank. Frank says one interesting exercise is imagine one of your internal organs, lungs, heart, kidney, has a smiley face on it. That will make you smile. That's actually great. I like that one a lot. And Jenny says, googly eyes and a cheesy grin on my spleen. How can I not smile at that? That's funny. I like that. I hope you have a great day. Whether you imagine smiley faces on your liver for National Beer Day, whether or not you drink a beer, I hope you have a good day and a great day and a great weekend and a great week until I see you again. I do miss all of you. I think about you a lot. Thanks for coming by. Thanks for joining me. And I'll be honest, I am super torn about going back to bed. I'm sleepy. But have a busy day ahead of me with some stuff that I really want to do. So I'm going to go crank it out. Take care, everybody. I'll see you next week. Peace.